Ever feel like we're living in a sci-fi movie? AI is everywhere you look these days, and today we're diving deep into where it's headed next.
Yeah, it's wild.
We'll be looking at how AI is merging with things like quantum computing, tackling huge problems like climate change, and even changing how we communicate around the world.
What's really interesting is how AI is this, connecting piece between all these different fields,
That's true.
which just shows how crucial it's becoming in everything.
Right. It really is the common thread. So let's jump right in. First up, quantum computing and AI.
Okay.
Sounds pretty futuristic, right?
It does.
But it's got the potential to solve problems that would take normal computers, like centuries.
Yeah. It all comes down to the difference between bits and qubits. Your laptop uses bits, which are either a 1 or a 0.
But like an on or off switch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But qubits are more like dimmer switches. They can
Okay.
be in multiple states at the same time, which is what gives quantum computers their power.
Okay, I kind of get the dimmer switch idea, but how does that translate into actually impacting stuff in the real world?
Well, imagine what this could do for something like discovering new medicines, which takes a really long time and costs a ton of money.
Yeah, it's a long process.
With quantum AI, you could simulate how molecules interact super precisely. It could totally revolutionize how we find new treatments.
It's like having a superpowered AI chemist.
Exactly. And that's just one example. Think about climate modeling. We have all this data about the climate, but it's so complex.
Right.
Quantum AI could analyze it way more accurately, which could lead to much better environmental policies.
So it's not just about speed, but getting a clearer picture of complex things.
Exactly.
But there's got to be some challenges with all this power, right?
Oh, absolutely. One of the biggest is something called decoherence. Remember those dimmer switch qubits? They're really sensitive to anything that messes with them.
I see.
Even the smallest thing can make them lose their quantum state. And keeping them stable is a huge technical challenge.
Kind of like trying to juggle, I don't know, like soap bubbles or something.
Yeah. And then there's the scaling issue. For this to really work for AI, we need a lot of qubits working together.
Right. Makes sense.
But the more you have, the harder it gets to keep them stable and control errors.
It does seem like a bit of a paradox. So we're talking cutting-edge tech, but it's got some kinks to work out.
Yeah.
But this is bigger than just the technical side, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. Think about the implications if quantum computers could break the encryption we use for everything.
It's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. And ethically, what if AI can design entirely new life forms?
Wow,
Or make decisions with huge consequences that we don't fully grasp? We're talking about changing life as we know it.
it's pretty mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah.
It's exciting and a little bit scary all at the same time.
It is.
But while quantum AI is pushing those boundaries,
Yeah.
there's this other big thing we need to talk about.
Yeah.
Climate change.
Right.
We're seeing the effects of it more and more.
Yeah.
So where does AI fit into all of this?
AI is already such a big part of how we understand and try to deal with climate change. It's really good at analyzing huge amounts of data, like satellite images and weather patterns, the kind of information that would take forever for us to go through. AI can do it so fast and accurately.
So it's like a warning system for the planet.
Exactly. Like it
Yeah.
can look at satellite pictures to track deforestation and stuff like that.
Whoa.
Or it can help us predict hurricanes better so people have more time to prepare.
That's amazing how it can use data in those ways, especially with something as urgent as climate change.
Yeah.
But can it help us actually prevent it?
Yeah, definitely. Like with renewable energy, we all know we need to move away from fossil fuels.
Right.
And AI can be a big part of that. Just imagine a wind farm. AI can adjust the turbine blades in real time based on wind speed and all that to capture as much energy as possible.
It's so smart.
Right. And it can help us create these smarter energy grids that can balance everything out between different sources.
So it's not just about making green energy, it's about using it in a smarter way.
Exactly.
What about other ways AI can help?
Well, people are looking into how to use it for carbon capture. That could be really big for getting rid of CO2 that's already in the atmosphere.
That's interesting. It sounds like AI has so much potential, but are there any downsides to think about?
Yeah, that's important to consider. It's not perfect, obviously. One thing is how much energy AI actually uses.
Oh, right.
Training those AI models takes a ton of computing power.
So it's kind of ironic in a way.
Yeah, we have to be careful about that.
Yeah.
And another thing is data bias. If the data used to train the AI isn't good, then the AI's results won't be either.
That's a really good point, especially with something like climate change, where we need to make good decisions based on accurate information.
For sure. And I think the main thing to remember is AI is a tool. It's not like a magic solution.
Right.
It can help us analyze and predict, but it doesn't replace actually changing our behavior and how we do things.
It's a good reminder that technology alone can't solve every problem. We have to do our part too.
Right.
It really is a shared responsibility, isn't it? But, okay, let's move on to something a little different now, something that feels very personal. How we communicate with each other.
Okay.
Imagine a world where you can have a conversation with anyone, anywhere, no matter what language they speak.
It'd be incredible.
That's the idea behind multilingual AI.
Yeah, it's really fascinating.
And we've come a long way from those old translation devices you used to see in movies.
We have. Those were pretty clunky.
Right. AI-powered translation is getting seriously good now, even for things like sign language.
It's true. AI translation is being used everywhere. For
Yeah.
companies doing business internationally, it's huge.
Yeah, like being able to make deals and launch products in tons of languages at the same time.
Exactly.
That's got to be a game changer, especially for smaller businesses.
Definitely. And for people, too, just think about traveling and being able to talk to locals easily.
Right. It'd be amazing to really experience different cultures like that.
It would really break down those barriers between us.
It really would. But are there any downsides to all this? Like, what about its impact on language itself?
That's something to think about. Like, if it's so easy to translate everything,
Yeah.
will people still want to learn new languages?
It makes you wonder if we might lose something, like the uniqueness of different languages, if we don't have to put in the effort to learn them anymore.
You're right. Each language has its own way of looking at the world, you know?
It does. And AI translation is good, but can it ever really get all those nuances, like humor and cultural references?
That's the question, isn't it?
So maybe there'll always be a need for human translators, at least in certain situations.
Maybe. But here's an interesting thought. AI could also help us save languages that are dying out
Oh,
by creating these digital archives so all the parts of a language are preserved.
wow, that's a really cool idea. So instead of pushing languages out, AI could help keep them alive.
Exactly. It all depends on how we decide to use it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot today. Quantum AI, climate change, the future of language.
It's a lot to think about.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it shows just how fast technology is moving.
Yeah, it's moving faster than ever.
So as we enter this new world of AI, I think the most important thing is to stay curious, think critically, and make sure we're using it for good.
I agree.
Well, that's about all we have time for today. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of AI. We'll see you next time.